We farm in Edwall, Washington, my wife Jill and I, and our 4 kids.
I am a 4th-generation farmer. I have a unique situation where I farm just outside of Spokane, very rural, but also urban. And so I have 100 landlords, which is a real thing. It's kind of patchwork, quilty farming.
I'm a 5th-generation farmer here in Washington, 3rd generation locally. We're primarily a grain farm, wheat, barley, canola, do a little bit of hay.
Flourish is a program that we partnered with the Palouse County Conservation District, and it's been a long time coming. I initially, being a naive farmer, I went to a website on the USDA's website, and I saw that I could apply to a grant for trying to do some regenerative agricultural practices. Acronyms are a big thing, and so I was just sitting down in front of my computer thinking, like, what are some words that kind of talk about regenerative practices? And I really like that word flourish. I was like, can I figure out a way to make flourish work with this as an acronym? And so we ended up with Farmers Leading Our United Revolution in Soil Health. Lincoln County reached out to Palouse County, and we were awarded that. We've been doing demos and trials ever since, and excited to keep doing a few more.
So what we're doing with our Flourish acreage is experimenting with cover crops. We're taking our cash crops out of production for a whole year so that we can, really focus on the cover crops on that acreage. Shorter growing season than, some other areas, and then trying to integrate livestock. Josh was one of the guys that convinced me to go out. It was like July 15th. He goes, just go plant a cover crop out there. And I went and did that 25 acres, and that 25 acres absolutely exploded. I couldn't have planned that. I couldn't have told you that it was going to do that, but it was just absolutely amazing to see what that cover crop did that year. And that was the 125 acres where when we seeded our winter wheat crop into it that fall, it actually had moisture in the soil, and that was some of our best winter wheat going into the following year on that 25 acres. That caused me to go and get a microscope and figure out that there is all this life in the soil that we really knew nothing about at the time. And and then fast forward a few years to where we're trying to figure some things out. A Flourish program comes along that gets a handful of other farmers involved that can all share ideas and bounce stuff off of each other so that we can really help move this needle ahead for us. We're all so diverse in what we're growing, our regions, our soil types, and this sharing of ideas to help figure out what's going to work on your own operation is just fantastic.
Kind of our first experiences with cover crops were planting some sunflowers, radishes, and turnips, and just kind of because they're cool. A lot of people ask me why I do this, and it's pretty cool. I feel like it's really cool to be able now, like we're growing sun hemp and milo and millet and cowpeas and sorghum, Sudan grass, along with turnips, radishes, clover, peas, vetch, you name it. We're kind of trying all these different things, but the conversation piece is the sunflowers. If you want to get a landlord in a conversation, plant some sunflowers in your cover crop, and every landlord will want those on their farm. If they don't, the wife will want them, and the kids will want them. The neighbors will talk about their fields, and everybody wants to be able to have their place touted over, hey, look at that crop, what's going on? And sunflowers are that piece. But now, as we're going down this biological world with extracts, with our extractor machine that we have, the Hiawassee, and the worm castings that we're putting down, we're able to cut the synthetics so far back that we're able to make room for these cover crops.
Last year, our first trial, I got out there in the spring and put in a mixed cover crop, and it grew great. It looked really nice. Put the cows on it. They lasted 3 weeks on 30 acres, and they did a pretty good job.
We've had, a series of years where the cover crops have been fantastic, and then this year has been really trying for us on the cover crop piece of it. It just, the way the seasons worked out, the mix, we thought that we had something that was really dialed in for our operation, and it's turning out there's a whole nother component that we need to try considering. That's where the Flourish program, everybody coming together, the symposium at the end of the year, talking about their wins and losses, trying to figure out, find those missing pieces to, again, help move that needle forward.
We've got some great trials from this last year that I talked to a lot of the people in Flourish about last winter when we got to meet together, but I was able to share some successes and failures. And our successes were we had these enormous cover crops. I'm talking some fields were over 7 feet, but trying to figure out what to do with this biomass. How do we seed? And some of the things that I thought were the biggest failures that I explained to the group last winter are now our biggest success. The field that was matted out in black mold, what it looked like, is now flourishing as one of our best winter wheat fields this year.
The social component of this is huge because when you are trying and experimenting with these ideas that nobody else is doing, you feel like you're this loner out there. And to be able to be in a room with all the other Flourish participants and saying, I'm trying this, and hearing somebody else be like, oh yeah, I tried that a few years ago, and that's so refreshing. It makes you feel like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not on an island trying this all by myself. And encouraging conversations that we can have together as farmers is one of the big benefits from the Flourish gathering that we had this last spring.
The integration of livestock piece, the biggest thing that I would hit on is it's a level of excitement for our farm that hasn't been there before. Everybody's excited to hear the cows bellowing and making the dust going out through the field. And it's been this really exciting piece of our operation, along with that trying to increase the biological component to it too. So
soil health movement for our farm, as we actually decided to go from normal cows to the Highland fuzzy babies, and it's bringing life on your farm is so fun. And when you get to also even pick the life you want to bring on your farm, it just makes it more fun. When you bring in fuzzy cows in and chickens, and we've got some pigs over here in the background you can hear, and they're out on hot wire, like that's the stuff it's kind of fun. It's new, it's exciting, and then when you taste that product, it's phenomenal. It's right there. It's where it's at.
What Flourish is doing is going to not only allow us to help make our soils more sustainable, but also grow healthier food. I think that's a really important part. It's not just going to affect, how resilient our farms are, but it's going to make people more resilient. It's going to affect our healthcare system in a positive way if we can grow healthier food as well.
That's where we're going to make those learning experiences that will get us the incremental steps forward that will really make the revolution happen, as part of our acronym is shooting for.